The importance of mass media in the lives of the average American has skyrocketed since the mid-20th century. With the rise of cable TV, 24-hour news coverage, and now the internet and social media, it has become a cornerstone of our society. We broadcast everything. But how does this media-centered lifestyle affect the American judicial system, where one of the key principles is the right to a fair and impartial trial by jury? The clear answer is that it has affected it greatly. The rise of mass media has led to an excessive exploitation of high-profile court cases, usually ones that involve high-profile figures or especially gruesome crimes. In order to provide a fair judiciary experience, which is a right to all Americans under the Sixth Amendment of the Constitution, it is crucial that media platforms refrain from reporting biased information, manipulating factual evidence, and sensationalizing coverage for the sake of their own personal gain and popularity. One case, and one reporter in particular, perfectly personify all of these issues.
New today in the case against Casey Anthony.
Top story this morning, a 2-year-old girl is missing and detectives say her mother has provided them with more lies than information. Casey Anthony told deputies she has not seen her daughter Kaylee in more than a month, but she only reported the child missing yesterday. Now the 22-year-old mother is in jail.
Casey Anthony's murder trial.
The Casey Anthony trial.
Casey Anthony knows that much of the world believes that she killed her 2-year-old daughter Kaylee.
After 2-year-old Kaylee Anthony's body was found in December of 2008, the suspicious circumstances surrounding her death and her mother, Casey Anthony, were brought to the attention of the media. This case captivated the interest of the American public. Every major news network was talking about the missing child constantly for months. However, H&L was the prevailing source of coverage, headed by Nancy Grace, a former prosecutor. Nancy Grace is infamous for only reporting sensationalized and brutal crimes. Grace led the pack against Anthony and was constantly covering the story on her show. Grace would also make appearances as a guest on other networks during the trial to talk about the case. She would always infamously refer to Casey Anthony as Tot Mom.
Tot Mom, Casey Anthony on trial for the murder of her 2-year-old little girl, Kelly. Tot Mom now going after her brother and father relentlessly. For 31 days, she didn't report her daughter missing. Today, a complete shift in Tot Mom's appearance and demeanor in court, laughing, smiling, joking.
Throughout Nancy's nonstop coverage of the trial, she had always assumed it was an open-closed case, even stating that it was obvious that the mother had done it. H&L covered the trial more extensively than any other channel, and it was rewarded with record-level ratings. By July 1st, only 5 weeks into the trial, it was gathering 1.2 million viewers at any given time of the day, even more than normally first place Fox News Channel. James Poniewozik, the media columnist for Time magazine, wrote on Twitter that the lesson of H&L's trial coverage was a lesson shared by cable news all over. The reward goes to those who pick a side. The trial itself was just as much of a media spectacle. Nancy Grace and H&L station gained an infinite amount of notoriety and press from their media assassination of Casey Anthony. Some networks even had 2-story air-conditioned tents set up outside of the courthouse so that their reporters could stay comfortable during the trial. After months of back and forth, the jury finally came to a verdict.
As to the charge of first-degree murder, verdict as to count 1. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty, so say we all, dated at Orlando, Orange County, Florida, on this 5th day of July, 2011, signed for person. As to the charge of aggravated child abuse, verdict as to count 2. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty.
Nancy Grace was outraged at the verdict, even claiming that the devil will be dancing tonight. Grace, along with millions of others, refused to accept and support the decisions that the jurors had made, even making nasty comments about the jurors.
I'm not going to let some kooky jury stop justice. Not for me, anyway.
Kooky jury?
Yeah.
When a court reaches a verdict, people are supposed to respect that verdict and trust the criminal justice system. When they don't, they're undermining the principle of the system itself. Of course, not all media outlets behave in an unbiased fashion. In fact, many reporters came out against people like Grace and their media assassination, as they called it.
Further about the media, I have been making statements in the media for many years about the media as the 13th juror. And in many other jurisdictions, countries, you have a court case that goes to trial and the media is off limits. And the legislature and our government may want to look at this and say, under the constitutional guidelines that everyone is entitled to a fair trial, what steps do we have to take without stepping on the First Amendment?
It's true that the First Amendment provides us the right to free speech. But how far can we go with that until we're encroaching on other rights, such as the right to a fair trial? Although they may claim they're only practicing their right for free speech, the media's constant antics to sensationalize, overcover, and downright manipulate the facts of this case and those similar to it is unconstitutional in itself. In order to provide an impartial judiciary experience for all Americans, it is crucial that the media strives to report on a facts-only basis in order to provide coverage that is informative, rather than persuasive or manipulative to its viewers. In order to align themselves with the journalist code of honor, they must prioritize the promotion of truth instead of the promotion of themselves.